attack to get out of trouble for possessing the firearms and heroin that was also found in the home.
That's that.
Okay.
Oh, I guess
Oh, yeah. So you should have the expiring active date.
Yeah,
Abibola Osandario, an aspiring actor, said he and his brother agreed to their roles in the fake attack because he felt indebted to Smollett for helping him with his acting career.
Now, I just need somebody to tell me, when have you ever heard of two black men, one a convicted felon, them searching their home and finding guns and heroin, and they didn't go to jail?
Yeah, right, never. Hello. Just say hello.
Now, we've all ignored the fact that Justice Smollett had already been tried for this, and this had been settled. This case was done. Now, who do you think was the prosecutor? The DA. Who do you think? Who do you think the prosecutor was? Who do you think? Chicago DA? Attorney General? Chicago DA? Anybody? Chicago?
You looking for a name?
No, I'm just like, who would you think?
Obama's Attorney General.
Huh?
Obama's Attorney General?
It was, what Kim Fox? Should have been, what Kim?
Say it again?
Because Kim Fox had already said that he was, she let him go.
Right.
Because she's a black DA. You know what they're doing with other black DA.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, a Donald Trump attorney, a lawyer firm, a firm that represented Donald Trump.
Oh, wow.
It wasn't, they did the case pro bono. Where did they do that?
In Chicago.
Pro bono. So a right-wing racist law firm took this man to court after he had already been to trial and it already had been settled and had paid a fine, and they locked him up in the midst of the COVID epidemic when they were letting criminals out.
Right.
Because of COVID. Now, one thing you need to know about Justice Smollett, and I'm not a Justice Smollett apologist at all, I'm just saying, because that seems to be the person that black folk love to claim is so wrong. Justice Smollett gave, I think Benedict College, HBCU, y'all know, female college, needed $8 million, needed $6 million to stay open. Justice Smollett gave them 10.
Wow.
Justice Smollett has given millions of dollars of his money to different organizations that were actively involved in social justice. Millions of dollars. And we're going to throw him away? For what Karens do every day? I mean, that's like the very least. Is what Karens do every day. File fake police reports, call the police, and say that something happened that did not happen. We threw him away. It's because we don't have a critical race analysis. That's possible. It's not possible when you have a critical race analysis. It's not possible when you say, is my decision to align myself with the police department going to ultimately hurt my people? You know that answer is yes. So I need to keep my mouth shut and let it play out the way that it does. I'm gonna move on. I'm not gonna get to everything, but I do want to show you this. And this is when I talk about the spirit of the law. This is the casual killing act of 1705. The Casual Killing Act of 1705. This is what it says. If a slave, and all I did was inserted in red contextual, like black man, white person. If a slave / black man resists the master / police or owner or other person / white person by his or her order, correcting such a slave, says black man, and shall happen to be killed in such correction, it shall not be counted felony, but the master / police owner and every other person / white person so giving correction shall be acquitted of all punishment and accusation for the same, as if such accident had never happened.
Yes. I read the
That ain't true today.
Yes. True. Yes.
Casual Killing Act of 1705.
I read the old.
And so when we talk about abolition, we got to rip it all up.
Yes.
We have to rip it all up. Casual killing, that's also called in modern day time immunity. Qualified immunity.
So wait, what, okay, sorry. You're gonna send James slide?
Excuse me?
You just, I saw a slide on intersectionality, I believe. Are you gonna send James your slide?
Yes, I am.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
Yes, sir. I want to get to one more slide and then, I got to get to these, y'all. The facts about the numbers. See, this is why we must defund them. Facts about the numbers. 97% of all black defendants plead party. That's from Michelle out there. 97%. So black folks, we're not even going to court. So the police and the DA are determining our sentence. We're not even having our day in court. And the only way you have your day in court is that you got money. You have money. And we got mad at just how dare he not apologize for what he did. Why wouldn't he? He had his day in court just like all white people, like Donald Trump is waiting to have his. He don't want to have his because he knows what it's going to look like when he's going to have it. Police solve very few serious crimes. They are less than 2% effective in stopping crime. Only 50% of serious crimes get reported. 50%, so half the serious crimes that happen out there, only 50% get reported. 11% lead to arrest, and 2% end in conviction. 51% of the budget. Well, we need police that keep us safe. Abolishing the police is the only thing that's rational for a thinking person. It just don't sound right to the system. Because see, if you abolish police, then there's no more, the arm of white supremacy can no longer exist. Trustworthiness. Now, I want you to know this is their data. This ain't my data. I didn't make this up. This is their data. 2% of police are sexual predators. 30% struggle with substance abuse.
Wow. Yep.
An FBI advisory report found that roughly 40% of officers who filled out questionnaires in a number of different settings admitted to being physically violent with their spouses in the previous 6 months. So when we say that they're criminals, when little Tyrone, and little Bookie tell us that the police are violent and criminals,
And gangs too.
and gangs, well, we know they're gangs. They're not making it up. The other thing that I want to say, and it's not in, I may have skipped it, but what I want to say is, the biggest thing about critical race theory, tell me what it does. What critical race theory does, it exalts our witness. It's an evidentiary thing. It's about evidence. So, when we get on the witness stand, it's like we're down here in terms of believability. The law says that we can only be considered a credible witness after we have been interrogated. So that's why they're tearing Van Willis apart.
Yes.
Because they need to disqualify her as a witness, not just to kick her off, but they need to disqualify her. They need to ruin her credibility so that when she says something, no one will believe her. Well, critical race theory brings it up like this. Now, when you talk about white people when they go to court, they're already up here.
Yeah.
They don't challenge their credibility. They don't challenge their credibility. And so when you walk into the courtroom as a black or brown person, you are guilty until proven innocent. And that is a standard that is very difficult. That's a bar that's very difficult to hop over. We don't understand that because we're not lawyers. But the reality is this: if I tell you that if I come in and you believe that I am guilty, and then you ask, what time did I go to the store the other night when the robbery took place? And I say, oh, let me think, I don't know. Was it 8? Was it 9? Now you're saying, oh!
Yeah.
But why didn't you say that same thing? Oh, I understand you don't believe in God. Matter of fact, I use that technique when I get traffic tickets. I go to court. I said, I'm going to go to trial. Because see, I know, and I win. Because I asked one question. I said, officers, I wait until the last minute to go back to court, maybe a year or so. And I said, officer, what do you have for dinner on Wednesday? So you don't know what you have for dinner on Wednesday. But yet you're going to tell me that you remember giving me a ticket and I was speaking the details of why you gave me this ticket? Every time this is case dismissed. I ain't paid a ticket in LA since I don't know. So it is important. This was really magnified in, remember the young man who was shot and killed for playing the music too loud?
Yes.
That district attorney said, you got a bag of money and a black and brown person. It's a drug deal. Just like that. Just like that. And many of us believe that. It's not illegal to have a bag of money, and certainly isn't a capital offense even if it was drug, right? And so if we don't have an analysis if we don't have an analysis that centers black people, we don't get to here.
Right.
We get to judging our people and calling out, we get to doing the very things that we say we disagree with.
Mm-hmm.
It does not hurt for us. Jesse McClain. Anthony McClain. So Anthony, I'll get names. Anthony McClain. Right down here. I heard that there were some statements that had been made. I'm riding with Anthony McClain. All day long. And the reason that I'm riding with Anthony McClain is because there are systems that are in place to prove what happened, but they never do because they don't have to, because we never demand justice. We go along to get along. I told the chief of police, every time an officer shoots someone who's unarmed, do you test them for drugs?
Yeah.
I told, or alcohol. I said, so since you need all this training so that you learn, so that your officers can learn how to engage black and brown people, do you train your black people on how to engage white folks? We're human. That's it. Treat us like human beings. Thank you.
Whew, that's a whole lot to unpack, right?
Yes.
I told you, because he came out the gate fast, so we were trying to bring it back. So we'll, because again, we want to honor everyone's time. Me and Dr. Thomas can sit here all night and argue with each other and agree and disagree. We want to honor your time, but we also want to allow y'all, if you want to, ask some questions, dialogue. That's what this portion is for. You were absolutely right, Doctor, and I see it. I know what I read back a year and a half or almost 2 years ago when you're talking about the Anthony McClain case. When I came across court papers, police reports, unredacted reports, right? Things that weren't properly filed, right? And then I really got a chance to see exactly how little they did to investigate that homicide, as opposed to if it were a white woman missing or some other type of crime. I mean, there was a minimal effort at best, right? Just enough to say that they did something, and so I have a better understanding now of kind of how that shapes out into systems, right? They did just enough to cover their ass. So we want to allow y'all, some of y'all have questions, comments.
And true confession, I used to investigate police officers, so I used to do that. So I know how you tell me about police officers.
He used to run from the police too, but that's
And the rocks at the police, I didn't know. Yes.
Okay, so I think we may have been on the right path with George Floyd and what happened afterwards. But it seems like now we're going backwards again. Do you feel that way, and how would we implement this idea of abolition?
Well, this is the thing. We are going backwards, but some of us are not.
Right.
But we're going backwards because we're allowing people to drag us down. Like, you know, I mean, every company has a DEI person. You know, now they're rolling and cutting the funding of those positions. But to answer your question, I mean, to be quite honest, one of the things that people don't know, when I say Black Lives Matter, you know, people are like, well, you know, you just care about black. We have white people for Black lives. In Clergy for Black Lives, this is a true story. When we were protesting at first in spring, and there was 100 cops that had come, they were ready to arrest all of us, the black clergy, because we're the leadership. Pastor Q got on the mic and said, can we get our white clergy to come around to the back of this pickup truck and stop these police officers from arresting us? Then white folks came around and stood. And 100 police in riot gear heading towards us turned around and left. And we tied that intersection up for about 4 hours. And so everybody, and so it's that kind of, you know, so don't ever think that this is just, don't ever think that it doesn't take all of us. It absolutely takes all, but we have to understand how to do an analysis that centers black people. And so the most important question to ask is, how is this going to help or hurt marginalized people, black people? How is it going to help or hurt? Even if my personal thing is, I'm not with that. But at the end of the day, if it's going to hurt black people, then at the very least, I need to be silent.
Right.
And so I don't, you know, as more and more, and I want to keep you all informed because we're going to be telling you a little bit about the Mike Brown situation, because you do know that ain't what you know about it true. The store that he stole the cigarillos from, remember they said he stole the cigarillos?
Right.
You know, that store sells drugs to kids.
Please.
That store is shut down because the community shut that store down because that store was giving drugs to kids. Putting it in lemonade boxes. Boston baked bean boxes. Giving them little cups of cough syrup on their way to school. That's what that store was doing. And if you notice, when you look at the footage of Mike Brown puts something on the counter, and the person on the counter smells it. Now, y'all know what you smell. Y'all done forgot. Y'all done forgot. You smell weed.
Reefer.
Can't smell cocaine. You smell weed. So the guy at the desk, at the counter, was getting some weed from Mike Brown. And what they used to do was they would put the money in the cigarillo box. It was already there, so that the camera would not catch them exchanging money. And so Mike Brown, all he did was got what was his, and the owner saw him and thought he was stealing and tried to stop him. Now, I don't know anybody that is going to allow anybody to take money from them that's duly theirs. They're not going to let that happen. And so while it may have seemed as if he was being violent against their request, the reality is, and then the key witness, talk about critical race theory. The key witness in the case of Mike Brown was a white woman who said, he looked like he had like a demon. They always make us demons, right? Yeah, demons. Do you know that woman wasn't even there? She wasn't even there. Yet she testified. She is a woman who is known by the St. Louis Police Department to call and try to act like she's an eyewitness to something that is all over the news. The woman is crazy. Yes.
So, hear a lot about the defunding and even abolishing police. Never really have heard anything about reallocation of police funding. And what I mean by that is this. taking, double-digit percentage portions of a police budget, and we'll use LAPD for an example. And, putting more of that money to, things like, the person that goes with the police officer whenever they report a domestic violence case that's trained in domestic violence. Because we know that even if it was offered, most police officers aren't gonna, go for, domestic violence training. They get 90, every law enforcement officer in the country, that's not FBI or federal, they get about a list from different training that they have to do. It's 99 things on there. The first 75 is all like tactical weapons and stuff. The lower 25 are things like de-escalation, use of force continuum, things of that nature. So what about possibly reallocating? Would that work? Would that not work? If so, how?
What do you mean by reality? You mean
Like taking pieces, notice double-digit percentage portion, like north of 10%, whatever that is, and just saying like put it toward things that directly help the community, like the people that work with the police to do domestic violence, the ones that when there's a gang murder, I don't know the name, what's a gang murder? You know what I'm talking about, you investigate, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, the gang intervention people, or what was, well, GRIP's not directly as part of City Hall, but, so you know what I'm trying to say.
Well, this is the thing, that's what defunding the police is.
Yeah.
The only people that try to say that it's something different are the politicians who want business as usual. Because they understand that you're not gonna get a vote if you're against the police.
But they're being paid by police unions too.
Oh,
They're being
yeah,
elected.
that too.
All that.
We call police
So
association.
was there, I just follow a question, was there any conversation about like doing the same thing, but calling it something different, like reallocation? From a brand and marketing
But let me
purpose,
tell you,
to sell it to the public.
But let me tell you, that ain't what we trying to do.
Yeah.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Because we tired of it.
Right.
Because that's how they sold us integration, and then they did not integrate us. Right?
Yeah.
They sold us integration, but it ended up holding hands, and no, that ain't what Martin Luther King was talking about. He did not. His speech is not about a dream. His speech was about reparations. Now, speech 101, whatever you open with is what your speech is about. He said America has given us a check stamped insufficient funds. That means they owe us some money.
Right.
And the fees that go along with it, right? That's what he was talking about, but they sanitized that, and they made us seem as if he was talking about little boys and little girls, little black boys and little black girls, and little white girls and all that, holding hands together. That's not what he was talking about, sitting in class. I mean, Martin Luther King went to Morehouse. He graduated from Morehouse. He lived in Atlanta. He wasn't concerned about that. It was the money.
Right.
Yeah.
And so we've heard that. But one of the things that we've said is that, but when it came out of the Republicans' mouth, all of a sudden people understood it.
Yeah.
When Donald Trump said that he wants to defund the Department of Justice and the FBI, nobody jumped up and said anything about that. No one even said it was ridiculous. Why? Because critical race theory argues passionately that when it comes to matters with law and public policy, whiteness equals truthfulness, and blackness equals untruthfulness.
Yes.
Period.
Period.
Yes, that's it.
Period. And when you lack a critical race theory analysis, a critical race analysis, you get affirmative action. A lot of people, they took affirmative action. Well, they primarily